All right, it's the back half of the program here tonight as we switch gears from women's basketball here to men's basketball from the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins. Tim Miles joining us for the last half hour. Tim, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Now, we only have a half hour here. I think we went 42 minutes.
He's already telling me to be brief. He's already saying, hey, tone it down.
The CSU man off to that 4-1 start, and they were able to bounce back from a loss against Sam Houston State with two very nice wins. They beat Drake on Wednesday night 78-67, and then the 87-74 victory against Fresno State. Were you happy with the way your team responded from that Sam Houston State game?
Yeah, I thought we played all right. I thought the Drake game was a little sluggish for a while. But we had this little run at the end of the first half. I thought that was good. And then I thought we had way better energy against Fresno. I thought that was the first time we played with energy kind of for 40 minutes. And so that was good to see.
Yeah, looking at that Drake game, I mentioned that, boy, you guys were better shooting the basketball. You're better from the free throw line. You guys rebounded the basketball better. And you said, well, when you start from ground zero, there's only one way to go but up.
Well, you know, it was that the Sam Houston game was disappointing. But as we came back with Drake, I thought, you know, Drake was one of those teams that kind of played better. And we really hadn't done that in my eyes or our team's eyes. So it was good to come out and kind of control the game from the outset. And then they made that run late in the lower third or last third of the first half, and we responded. Greg Smith actually got beat on a play and came up, blocked a shot, really made a big-time play for us. That was his first game back. Came down, got an offensive rebound, tip in, had a little electricity. We ended the half in an 11-2 run, and that was good for us.
I know that Sam Houston State game was disappointing for everybody. Did you have to fight a little bit to kind of get that out of their minds and not let that affect the game on Wednesday night against Drake?
Yeah, you don't want to relive the nightmare, right? You know, so I thought that anytime you've got early in the season, a team is still kind of discovering what they're all about. You know, what they can do, what they can be, and you know, we're not evolved enough in our program where we have this innate sense of what we are. You know, hey, we're Colorado State basketball. You know, like Duke has that, right? You know what I mean? And so you have to kind of go on and earn that periodically, and it takes some time to create a culture like that. And so, you know, I thought we were a little jumpy is what I'm getting at.
Yep, Andy Ogata, 18 points, 10 rebounds, and he continues to have an outstanding senior season for you, and he really dominated, I thought, on the inside.
Andy has dominated just about everybody on the inside this year, and if he gets it in a one-on-one situation, he's really good. And I thought Andre McFarland really played well, too. I thought he had a nice ball game. He shot the three well and just is doing a better and better job for us. But Andy's double-double is really important.
We talked about it on the pregame show on Saturday before the tip-off with Fresno. Andre McFarland had kind of seen his minutes limited going into that Drake game, and he was able to come out and play well and see those minutes increase.
Well, they were limited against Denver, and then against Sam Houston, I didn't want to play any of them. So, you know, I mean, you could say that about everybody. But, no, Andre asked me, I think, I don't know, I think it was before the Drake game, Coach, what do I have to do to get on the floor? And we talked about just two or three little things that he was kind of doing anyway. I just think he needed to be reassured. And Andre's really doing a nice job for us. I'm proud of him. You know, I mean, he's still a limited athlete, doesn't rebound a lot from the wing position, which I like, a good rebounding wing. But he's shooting the ball so well that's just a nice threat. And he's doing a lot of other things well, too. He's got a good voice. His attention to detail in the game plan is really good, too.
Well, you don't see him put the ball on the floor much, and I think that's what you're
That's
to.
fine. We don't need a contest here.
But, you know, I'm referring now to a play, I don't know if it was the second half or first half on Saturday night. He got baseline on somebody and laid it in. He got to the rim.
Good for him. Now, what he really does well is, I'm ignoring your point, is, you know, he caught it on Saturday night. He caught it in the block, made a little up and under move. He's a really good low block player, really, and he's crafty in there like that. So he can do a few other things too.
Yeah, you guys knock off Drake, and you go to 1-1 now in the 2 years of the Missouri Valley Mountain West Conference Challenge. But how about the number that the Mountain West Conference put on Missouri Valley? And a lot of those games were double-figure games.
Yeah, it was amazing. And now it's 12-6, I think, in the 2-year run on that, too. And, you know, a lot of people have said, you know, oh, you guys are no Missouri Valley, and that league's better. And it's kind of fun to go head-to-head and find out. So, yeah, I'd say the 8-1 run, the Mountain West was hopefully a statement that our league's pretty good, and it's only getting better.
Yeah, well, it's the truth. You aren't any Missouri Valley. You're a lot better than the Missouri Valley, especially this season.
It's a lot of fun. Hopefully that holds some weight later in 2011.
That's year number 2, correct, of a 4-year cycle?
Yeah, it was kind of, yes.
Do you like it?
Answer it that way. I like it. Gives us a quality opponent, similar style university, and I like it.
All right, he likes it. 78-67 is the final on Wednesday.
He like it.
The Rams get the 11-point win over Drake, and they had Fresno State coming into Moby Arena this past Saturday. We'll talk about that game with the Bulldogs. You played a couple of Bulldogs this week.
I did not realize that. One was meaner than the other one when I looked at them. Holy cow.
We'll talk about the Bulldogs of Fresno State when we come back. Just getting started talking some men's hoops here tonight from the Beach House Grill. From Elegant Sports, Colorado State Sports Network. Back here in Old Town Fort Collins at the Beach House Grill. We're live on a Monday night for the Coors Light CSU Basketball Coaches Show. You can join us here at the Beach House every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. all throughout the basketball season. Tim, another great crowd on hand here tonight.
Yeah, it's awesome. And how Steve Lauer, the owner of the Beach House, is here tonight, and so hey Steve, and he's done a great job with this environment. What a neat thing. So let's hear it for Steve back there. Thanks, Steve. I love this venue. It's we miss Scott and Kit and Scott, of course, and all that. But Steve's really done a great job at the Beach House. I encourage everybody to get out here and join us. It's a lot of fun. Food's great. Beer's cold. Mom, I don't know that for certain. I've just been told that. But at the same time, it's really nice, and we're happy. And if you don't want to eat here, go to Qdoba, right? There we are.
Beach House Grill, 125 South College Avenue here in Old Town. Beer's cold. Bob Greenfield
he can prove it. It's the banquet right there, and
That's
the food's
right.
good, right, Bob? Yeah, absolutely. Thumbs up.
Food's good, and he gets paid to come up here to eat and drink. How about that? It's the best gig of anybody in the house.
Tough break.
Tim Miles joining us as we continue to talk Colorado State basketball. The Rams again got that win over Drake. Then Fresno State came in on Saturday night, and the Rams would win it 87-74. And again, we talked about in the pregame, but that was a Fresno team that got you good at Fresno last year.
Oh yeah. You're reminding me of all the stuff, aren't you? Like the Fresno and Sam Houston State. Ugh. I suppose you have no choice, do you? You have to talk about these things, don't you?
Well, I don't.
We could just pretend.
When the football team went on a tough run, I had to ask Coach Fairchild. So I guess it's only fair that I ask you some of that stuff.
Wow. How about this? He's good though, isn't he? I mean, come on. I mean, he's good. Thank God we got rid of Schimmel.
That's right.
But
again, that guy can't broadcast a lick. I think we took care of that last week, but
I'm sure he's hanging on every word we're talking about right now too. Hey, Fresno was a team that they lost Paul George to the NBA. That really hurt them. I think some of these guys coming in, they expected to be maybe more role players, but Greg Smith's an NBA prospect, their 6'10" center, and he's he does. When you see him out there, he doesn't look that big, and then you put him next to Andy, and you're like, oh, wow, he's big. And but I really thought our guys did a good job, especially Ogade. I thought Andy was excellent. Travis Franklin was good, and Dorian Green I thought kind of came off, and we settled on a 10-man rotation, and so I thought we were more solid with our subs and our pattern, and I thought our guys played with a lot of energy throughout the night.
39-34 lead going into halftime, but they had made a little run on you.
Well, they made 4 straight three-pointers, of which 3 of them we contested. And you have to credit them. They were a 20% three-point shooting team coming in, and they ended up going 9 for 19. So that's a big night. Yeah,
they had hit 21 of 100 three-point shots coming in. And you talked about that Garrett Johnson before the game.
Yeah, he looks good, doesn't he?
He had a pretty stroke. He had 3 of those 4. And what goes through your mind when you're on the sideline and do you just kind of try to shrug it off?
Yeah, well, the first thing that goes through my mind is I look at the guy who's in charge of the scout and I threaten to strangle him. Is Nico here? Is Nico here?
He's
Nico?
back there.
So I want to just prove to you Nico survived the night. I did not strangle him. And there he is. Yay, Denny. And at the end of the day, that's the first thing you do is you're like, are we scheming this up right? Are we doing the right things? And then the next thing you look at your personnel and you say, well, are we doing it right? And to be honest, it's like I think Nico said during the game, Coach, they're not going to do this all night. Don't worry about it. And they didn't. And our guys firmed up, but we survived it. And it's nice to, I don't know if they ever got the lead after a few minutes or whatever into it.
They tied it at 39, but they never led after 2-0.
And it's nice when a team and Coach Cleveland's been very gracious in his comments, but when they played their best game of the year and still never have the lead, after a certain point in the game. So I thought we handled that fairly well.
All right, we'll have more with the coach, Tim Miles, but first, a timeout. We'll be back here at Old Town Fort Collins here in the Coors Light CSU basketball coaches show from Nelligan. I almost said the Steve Fairchild coaches show, Tim. All right, we're just going to go to break. Nelligan Sports and the Colorado State Sports Network.
It's water.
Live at the Beach House Grill here in Old Town Fort Collins. We have a phone number here somewhere that folks can call in and
please do.
Chime in. 1-866.
Now, if you give that number, my sister's going to call in immediately.
Well, good. Is she up in Sioux Falls?
Which one? Yeah, no. There's one in Rapid, one in Sioux Falls, and one in Big Stone City, South Dakota.
Okay. 1-866-702-7691. That's toll free, so you can call from anywhere in the U.S.
Yeah.
And
don't encourage them.
Maybe Tip or Alice Miles can call.
They might. They Tip and Alice now.
That's Tim's parents, by the way.
Yeah, they love the show. They pay attention.
Do they listen to the coach's show?
Oh yeah. Now, can we watch this? I see we got a thing here, a camera, right? Now, is this on the air somewhere?
It's not live, right? Now. It's on the website, CSURams.com, and you guys put it on YouTube as well, right? So
good.
You can go see it.
You can edit that part?
Yeah.
No.
But it's not live. We're not streaming live on the web per se,
Gotcha.
video, but audio we certainly are. We also take your comments on Ask the Coach. You can
it's on the CSU Rams, right?
Find the email on CSURams.com. And Eric has written in here this week. Coach Miles, Fresno State, Coach Steve Cleveland said that this is the best CSU team he's seen in a while, but perhaps you guys haven't played your best basketball of the year. How do you get your basketball team to kind of get a little more energy going into the next week?
Well,
I paraphrased there, by the way, Eric.
And it's a good question. It's a fair question. The way I look at it is, I want to play our best basketball in March, and getting our team to that point is what's the most important thing. So I know it's hard to sustain playing great basketball through 4 months. Not many teams do it. So I'm more concerned about our defensive efficiency. We don't guard the ball all that well. We give up some threes, but we got to clean that up. And so I think if we can do those things, we'll be all right. And we foul too much. That was the third thing. We foul too much. So we have room to grow that way, and those are important things for us. Right now we're probably, I don't know, the third, fourth, or fifth best offensive team in the country in terms of efficiency, percentages, scoring, all that stuff. Yeah, Paul Kowalczyk came in today and said, I know you're an offensive coach. Well, you didn't see me my first 3 years? It was offensive, all right, yeah. But, I like balance. I think you have to have good balance. I think you have to be good on offense, good on defense, good ball handling. You can't have just this great defensive team and expect to be good. You can't have just a great offensive team and expect to be good. It's about balance, and that's what we're striving for.
Even with Fresno throwing it threes on you guys and making that comeback, you guys were able to steadily pull away. And you guys were, I thought, doing a great job of getting to the free throw line yourselves and creating fouls against them. It was a real workmanlike effort, I thought, once you guys were challenged in that second half.
And that's leading to the Travis Franklin went 7 for 7 from the foul line. Let's go.
He's at 74% of the season.
Now, Nico Medved claims, I'm just going to tell you, that if you look at the Mountain West stats, Frank is in the top 5 of the Mountain West stats in free throw percentage. So that's awesome, baby. Now, I don't know if that's true, but we're going to go with it. All right? And, Frank has really improved that. And you need to be able to get to the foul line. You need, drink from the cup of easy baskets, and shooting free throws should be one of those.
Greg Smith, I thought, turned in a nice performance. He's just getting back his second game with you this year, 9 points in 16 minutes of work.
Yeah, our Greg Smith was better than their Greg Smith, and not related to Craig. Yeah, not related to Craig Smith, who was on our bench coaching. All unrelated, and they all had a good night. But I thought Greg was better and better. He was, 9 points. I don't know how many rebounds did he have. Only one. Felt like more than that. He was involved in more plays, and he gives us a whole new dimension of length and athleticism when he gets in the game, and we need that.
We've talked before about kind of getting a rotation going, and you said it would be into December before you felt comfortable. Are we starting to see some of the rotations taking place? Because the younger Smith, Dwight did not play. We haven't seen
Maurice much,
Maurice or Williams
or Trevor. And right now, just those three guys that all play for us, if we weren't at just any other point in time that I've been here, if it was year 1, 2, or 3, all of those guys would be on the floor playing for us. And that's what we've just told them. You just be patient. You never know when your opportunity is going to come. And you know, that's why you redshirt kids some years don't. We decided not to. And we just wanted to see what our team could become because we had too many guys that had sat out last year, 3 guys that redshirted, some new guys coming in. And at the end of the day, I like where we're at. I'm still not convinced. Will Bell's doing a good job, but he's a very much undersized center. You know, we need to get Trevor some reps in there. Maurice is a good player. He's a good guard. Had a heck of a week of practice. And Dwight, to be honest, got that inner ear infection, strep throat, and then broke his finger. He popped it out of his joint right before the Fresno game, the last possession before practice. So it's kind of been one thing or another, and that's the way it goes sometimes. So those guys could all play, but you know, it's a coach's decision, and it's not easy to make a decision. But at the same time, you can play 10. It's harder. You really can't play 11, 12, and 13 on a regular basis. You can get away with 10. 9's a little easier even than that. So we'll eventually probably end up at 9 or 10, and go from there.
Oh, the Rams now off to a 4-1 start. They're going to head back out into the road. They're going to be at Colorado coming up on Wednesday night, then at number 4 Kansas. Game that'll be played in Kansas City coming up on Saturday. We'll talk about both of those games and more when we come back here to the Beach House Grill in Old Town Fort Collins of Elegant Sports and the Colorado State Sports Network. All right, final 2 segments here tonight for the Beach House Grill, Old Town Fort Collins. Talking CSU hoops with Tim Miles. Colorado State going to be on the road coming up Wednesday night to take on 4-3 Colorado. What do you make of this CU basketball team? They go on the road, they lose at Harvard, then, boy, they just thumped Oregon State up in Boulder on Saturday night. Well, yeah, I think they're catching their wind a little bit and understanding that for their marvelous home team, they average 85 points a game, and they're really tough. They're great in transition. They've got 2 of the top 50 players in the country. You know, the 2 honorable mention All-American players in Burks and Higgins, and they're really tough that way. Now they lack a little size, they lack a little paint presence. And they haven't defended, I know, the way Tad Boyle expects them to defend, too. And I know he's working hard on shoring that up. Alec Burks averaging 20 points a game. Corey Higgins, 17 points a game. Is this about as good of a 1-2 tandem as you'll see maybe outside of a team like Kansas? Yeah, they can get you going. I think Higgins had like 36 on us 2 years ago. The guys that worry me, to be honest, I mean, you kind of know what you're going to get out of these guys. Knutson and Relaford, you know, when those guys get going, too, now you got a 3rd and 4th option scoring on a regular basis. And you kind of got to, you know, not that you're going to just let those 2 guys go their own way, but you really got to get to those complementary guys or you could be in trouble. Yeah, Knutson, I think, had the hot hand against Oregon State. He had something like 22, and he's a guy that can really shoot it. All right, we're running a bit behind. We're going to take another timeout. When we come back, we'll talk about those number 4 Jayhawks. I hardly got to talk that break. I know. You know, I know. That's why we're taking I'm here. It's a talk radio show. That's what I'm here to do. We can make it an hour and a half. Yeah, we might have to. All right, we'll be back after this. Number 4 Kansas. We'll talk about the Jayhawks after this from Elegant Sports and the Colorado State Sports Network. Final segment of the night here on the Coors Light CSU Basketball Coaches Show. Talk some CSU women's hoops with Kristen Holt. Talking men's hoops with Tim Miles. All right, well, you play Colorado on Wednesday night. Then you travel to Kansas City to take on number 4 Kansas. How did that game come about, Tim? Well, yeah, they called us, you know, years ago, and one of the things we've tried to do with games, especially on teams that aren't going to return, is to make it a national exposure game and to make sure that we're on a television that's going to be on every, you know, someplace ever in the country. And so we would do it if it was a ESPN game. And usually the Kansas City game has always been an ESPN or ESPN2 game. So we kind of been dealing about 2 years on that and finally worked it out that we could do it this year. Should be fun. Kansas doesn't come to places like Fort Collins, huh? Apparently not. Apparently not. I thought at one time when this summer maybe they'd be part of our league, but but that didn't turn out. So we'll go there for now, and we'll see maybe at a later date. You probably haven't seen too much film on them. I'm sure you've watched some here and there. Watch casually, yeah, like anybody. Number 4 in the nation. They're 7-0, and I know they're big. I know they're quick. What are you expecting when you go in there? You know, as a game, as you play these teams that are
big-time opponents and highly ranked and all that. You don't get more sophisticated. You get simpler. It really becomes big picture. Get back, right? Just get back. Eliminate fast breaks if you can. Guard the ball. Just stay in front of the ball, box out, rebound, and on offense, complete passes. I mean, honestly, just throw it to us, not them. And all of a sudden you start to get some confidence, start to get aggressive in those things. And now, you forget everything. So we don't, you don't over scheme. You don't get them thinking. Just get them to play. And that way, when that tension is relieved and their nervous energy is gone, you're fine. And you kind of get them in the fighting mode too. That maybe a little chip on your shoulder or whatever it might be, and that's the way you try and get them going in those games. And I've had a pleasure to be part of more than a few of them. Some victorious, some not. And I know this much: you just get simple, get as simple as you can, and go from there.
Do you have to fight against maybe any intimidation, any mental factors going into that game because these guys are playing Kansas, and Kansas is Kansas?
Well, it's like we told our guys when we looked at it. I mean, this is like a league opponent now. I mean, when you look at what San Diego State and UNLV and some of these other teams have become and what they are, they're really not any different than what we've gone against. I use the San Diego State analogy. Why not? Because we played them right to the last second in March. At a time when they went on and won the Mountain West tournament and all that fun stuff went on in the NCAA. And, all the guys nodded in agreement. So I'm sure they believe me.
Yeah. Playing on ESPN2, how important is that? I mean, I know you like the Mountain, and I know Rams
Mountain's great. Yeah, Mountain
get to watch
is really
the
good to
Rams
us.
play all the time,
Yep.
But how important is it to go national on ESPN?
Well, I mean, it's between 17 and 25 million sets will be on, at that time, and that's a big chunk of the United States, so you need that kind of exposure, and you need that kind of, you want people to say, if athletics is truly the front door, or front porch of the university, then let's put ourselves in a situation, where we can perform well and hopefully have a chance to win that game. And we're going there to win. We're not going there for any other reason. It's a good marquee game. That's important. But we're going there to win the game.
Yep. Some final thoughts. How about the Mountain West Conference now? 3 teams in the top 20 in the Mountain West. Is it better this year than last year?
I think so. I do. I think it is. I just look at the bottom teams. I think are better. That's the most important. Utah's better than they were. I really do think I think we're better than they were. TCU's better than they were. I can't speak for Wyoming yet. I haven't seen them much. Air Force is better than they were. And then you look at New Mexico and BYU are still good. I'm not sure where they're at, but UNLV. I'm not positive UNLV is not better than San Diego State. I'm not positive. I'm not.
Wow.
I mean, it's a toss-up to me.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Hey, what kind of music is this, man? Look, is this the Congo?
It means that there's a
Corey Estefan in the background. What's going on?
Hey, final thought. Key or two coming up Wednesday night against the Buffalo. So you mentioned
just go out and compete. Just go out and compete. And again, at a moment like this, you got to simplify it, not make it more complicated. Yep. Go out and compete. 30. Eliminate their transition, guard the ball, box out, and rebound.
All right.
Handle pressure.
That's right. All right, Tim, that should be fun. We'll see you there on Wednesday.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, for Tim Miles and Kristen Holt, the head coach of the CSU women's basketball team. It's going to be a fun one coming up Wednesday night. The women play at 5:30. The men come up at 8 o'clock. We'll go on air at 7:30. For the coaches and Bob Greenfield, I'm Brian Roth saying so long.